In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there has never been a democratic transfer of power. And the sudden death this month of veteran opposition leader Etienne Tshisekedi in Belgium has only created political uncertainty about who will unify the opposition. For 2 decades, Tshisekedi was one of its most prominent voices.
He sacrificed his life to fight for liberty, for democracy in this country. We were just a few meters away from victory, but that's now been snatched from us. It really hurts. Who is going to replace him?
The DRC was meant to have presidential elections last year. President Joseph Kabila was constitutionally barred from running for another term. But elections never took place, and Kabila refused to step down, leading to protests and deaths across the country.
I'm launching a solemn appeal to the Congolese people to no longer recognize the authority of Mr. Joseph Kabila, which is illegal and illegitimate.
The Catholic Church stepped in to help stop the violence, brokering a transition deal between the president and the opposition, led by Tshisekedi, for a power-sharing deal that would lead to elections this year. But that fragile agreement has been irrevocably shaken. The DRC should be one of Africa's richest nations. It has vast resources like gold, diamonds, oil, and viable farmland. But decades of conflict, corruption, and political crises have stripped wealth and stability from its people. For almost 20 years, the country has been ruled by a Kabila presidency. Laurent Kabila became president in 1997. When he was assassinated in 2001, his son, Joseph, took over. During his rule, there have been frequent outbreaks of violence. The UN estimates about 2,000 people were displaced by conflict each day last year. It says atrocities are still being committed, and has reports at least 101 people were killed by fighting in the past week alone.
According to information from several sources, FARDC soldiers opened fire indiscriminately with machine guns when they saw the militia fighters, who were armed mainly with machetes and spears.
Against that backdrop, how viable is it for the country to head to the polls this year? And will President Kabila finally step down? Natalie Pohonen, The Newsmakers.
I'm joined now by Vava Tampa in London. He's an activist and founder of the Save the Congo campaign, which works to help end the conflict. Thanks so much for joining us. Vava, do you believe Kabila is intent on staying on beyond his mandate?
No, absolutely, yes. Kabila wants to stay, wants to cling to power beyond his mandate. He's already clinging to power beyond his mandate. And the reason he wants to stay in power beyond his mandate is simple. He wants to preserve and safeguard his family's business empire. And crucially also, he's fearful that if he steps down, he will be taken to the ICC for crimes committed in Congo.
Now, let's look at the late Etienne Tshisekedi. A great man, tremendous credentials, but 84 years old.
Absolutely.
I wonder, are we maybe overblowing the significance, not the significance of his death, but the fact that he was the only viable opposition figure available in the country, and that his death necessarily means a descent into chaos?
Well, look, to understand this, one needs to look at Congo's history. You need to understand that Congo gained independence in 1960. From 1965 to 1997, Congo has been under dictatorship. And being under dictatorship means essentially that no other leadership, politically or socially, were allowed to blossom. So that's the first element. The second element is from 1997 to currently, to presently, Congo has been in a bloody civil war, over 60 million people killed, which also essentially means no viable leadership could actually blossom in a situation of a civil conflict, invasion wars. Now, Tshisekedi has, for over 30 years, been the single politician who has refused to give in, who has refused to be corrupted, and who has constantly called for a democratic Congo. And that's the reason that makes him such a towering figure in Congolese politics.
Vava, tell me why Tshisekedi's son Felix is seen as some sort of compromise figure moving forward.
Well, this is something which many people, including myself, are pushing forward. Felix Tshisekedi has suffered as well as alongside his father under Mobutu and recently under Kabila the father and Kabila the son. So he's someone who has showed integrity. He has fought alongside his father, and I believe he would be a figure who could essentially mobilize the broader Congolese political coalitions together to organize an election at the end of this year, as well as to keep the country united and to keep everyone focused on the same goal.
And at the moment, Save the Congo. Is it Save the Congo from Kabila?
Save the Congo, we are excessively anti-Kabila.
Okay, Vava, we hope that there'll be peace and there won't be an upsurge in violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The people there have seen too much over the past few decades. Thanks so much for joining us.